Welcome to the Women's Hoop Show. Over the past 2 weeks, we previewed about half the league as part of our WNBA Team Preview mini-series, breaking down rosters, expectations, early storylines ahead of the new season. Today, we're continuing with the next 3 in alphabetical order: the Las Vegas Aces, a retooled LA Sparks, and an ever-resilient Minnesota Lynx. Plus, we've got some early preseason action to recap. Finally, real games are happening, and they're already shaping how we see a few of these teams and how people are overreacting. But we've got a great show for you today. Let's get to it. Sheryl Swoopes is back in the building.
What up, Jordan?
What up? Really quick, you're wearing this denim dress right now that is so cute. And it reminds me because I went to Cowboy Carter on Thursday.
I'm so jelly. You look cute.
That would have been a perfect outfit for that. It was amazing, Cheryl.
Okay, can I just tell you, seriously, this
so good.
I don't care. This is like a $12 Marshall's dress.
It's so cute. Hey, I love a good deal.
I do too. Listen, I do too. But you're talking about my dress, and you know I'm gonna talk about the hair because your hair is hairing, the fro is back, the curls are curling. I love everything about it. I do.
Thank you. Well, yes, we can talk about. I can give you a full recap of Cowboy Carter. That's maybe a bonus episode on something separate because I loved it so much and it was amazing.
I love that, but okay.
I love Beyonce. It was amazing. Something else that happened over this weekend, WNBA basketball is back. And preseason games, we are able to watch all of them on the WNBA app or ESPN. We had a WNBA countdown for a preseason game.
Right?
Like, this does not happen. This has never happened before. I think last year when it was Angel Reese's first game and there was over 1 million people on a Twitter live.
Yes.
I think the league realized, people really want to watch these games, and we do. So it was fun.
I think they listen, right? Can I just say this? And okay, maybe it is a little shade, but it's okay. I am going to throw a little shade. I was just surprised that even on League Pass that it's actually working.
League Pass is great.
You know what I mean? Because
League Pass,
I can remember times when it was not working.
You know how far we've come?
Oh,
you know how far we have come? Yeah, do you? Yes. I'm sure you do.
Yes, but it's so good. Like, I was sitting at home over the weekend like, preseason games. Okay, let me see, where can I watch? It was so easy to find. Like, we got games on the Ion, on ESPN. I was like, what is going on?
And the fact that we're talking about preseason games and how we got to watch all of them, and they were good games. You know, preseason games, we're trying to make final roster cuts. Each team is trying to figure out who are our people. So sometimes if you're new to the league and you're watching and you're like, why aren't the stars playing towards the end of an overtime game? That's because the coach want to see what the rookies do, what newcomers do in these tight situations, and how they kind of figure out their role without the stars on the floor, and to see if they're going to make the team. Like, that's what this really was about. I wanted to ask you, though, when it is a preseason game and there are blowouts and there's rotations and all of these things, what things can we actually take seriously from a preseason game, and what things can we ignore and just be like, okay, not yet. This is just the first game.
Okay, so what I thought preseason games were for, part of me was like, Okay, example. The Washington Mystics Indiana Fever game. Because I know
Mm-hmm.
on social media, people were like, well, why aren't the starters in for the Mystics? They could win this game. And I was there, right? Because preseason is about, yes, you're going to play your starters, you're going to play your players. Typically, they don't even play that many minutes, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you have so many players on your roster that you got to make roster cuts. So you're still trying to figure out who can fit what we're doing. You're also experimenting with different lineups, with different players in the game. So I totally understood why Washington did what they did. I was
Right.
shocked we went to overtime, but anyway.
I
But here,
know.
but I did have a question though with Indiana, right? Because even though the starters weren't in, like Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull they've been in the league for a while. You
Mm-hmm.
actually had players who, like Bree Hall. Why wasn't she in that game per se? If you're still trying to figure out who's going to make the team, who you're going to cut. So I was a little confused with what Steph was doing, but anyway, it is what it is. But to
Mm-hmm.
me, when I think about preseason, it really isn't so much for your players that you know are returning, the players that you know are going to make the team, but it's more about, I'm not sure about this particular player. Let me get her
Mm.
in a real life game situation and see how she handles that. But I'm also going to probably play her a few minutes with my starters, right? To see how that looks, how that works. Example, and I know we'll get to it, like Nye with Vegas.
Oh my God.
If she doesn't make this squad, Becky Hammond. No, I'm just
Oh.
right. Like you put her in, and
Oh.
she's playing with Asia, with Chelsea, with Jewel. Because in my mind, Becky's like, I really think this kid's gonna be on this team. Let me see what she looks like with my big dogs. And listen, that kid can go. But to me, I wouldn't read too much into preseason though. It's just that it's preseason. Players aren't at their peak. They're not at their best. Coaches are still experimenting. So like y'all chill, relax. It's just preseason.
It's just preseason. And I think one of those things is, the whole team. You're trying a new coach. There is a league record 8 new coaches
Yeah.
coming in this season. So they have had like 5 days together as a team up until that point of the first preseason game. Like everybody is new. And I want to talk quickly about the Dallas Wings because it was Paige Becker's first game.
Mhm.
And first of all, the atmosphere at Notre Dame going up against the Aces, like that was so cool. I loved everything about going back to these college campuses for these players, for their fans. It was everything.
Yeah.
But you have, rookies who played really well. I think Paige, she got hit by a screen and she was out of breath from Jackie Young. She was like,
Welcome
okay.
to the lake.
Woo! Jackie Young is all muscle. She is just
Listen,
solid muscle.
she's
And
thick.
I think she realized that very quickly.
Woo, child.
But she still finished with 10 points, 4 rebounds, and assists. I think JJ Quinerly played unreal. She was
Yeah.
out there balling.
Yeah. Yes.
Really unafraid of the moment and just like, okay, I'll take garbage minutes. I'll take any minutes. I got to show y'all that I deserve to be on this
Yes.
roster. And
100%.
that's what these games are about. She had 16 points with 7 for 10 off the bench. Maddie Siegrist came in and had 11 points. Isaiah James had 10 points. So even though Dallas lost big, I think this was still a great exercise in how the lineups were going to look. They started a different lineup in the second half. I think Koklanis, a new head coach, should not have his head on the chopping block already. Dallas fans were already like, he's out. Nola Henry's gonna come in and take over halfway through the season. Calm down. Everyone take a deep breath. It's fine. But on the other hand, like you said, Vegas they looked mid-season form. I think everybody was, how's Jewel gonna fit? Is Asia, what was she doing in the offseason? They look great. We're gonna talk about more about them later, but man, they looked really good.
Yeah, so y'all leave the man alone. Coach Quinn, it's preseason.
Poor
Y'all
guy.
let him live, let
That's
him
tough.
live. Here's the thing. It's Vegas, y'all. Like Vegas ain't no slouch. But when
Mm-mm.
I look at the pieces that Vegas has, even when you don't have your big dogs in the game, like Vegas is still nice, right? And so then I look at Dallas. To your point, I think Paige Beckers is going to be really, really, really good in this league.
Mm-hmm.
She's
Mm-hmm.
she's she's just like Paige is just a baller. And I think you not only Paige and not only the rookies, to your point, I was a fan of JJ Quinerly at West Virginia. I'm so happy for her
Yes.
in this moment. And I hope she can land a spot on this team because I think she deserves it. Um uh James, oh my gosh, I'm a huge fan of hers. I thought she played well. But also, let's look at the other pieces. You got Dejanay, you got
Mm-hmm.
Melissa Smith. So to me, Dallas, it's going to take them some time to really figure out each other and figure out like what they're going to do, what type of system they're going to run. I will say this. I know it's preseason, so that's why I'm like, don't read too much into it. But if I'm a player, regardless of whether I'm a returner or I'm a rookie, and I get in the game, like I'm gonna play. I'm gonna make the
Mm-hmm.
most of my minutes because I'm also trying to get ready for the season. Tierra McCowan, I'm not sure. Like I don't know. I watched and I'm like, is she healthy? Is she
Mm-hmm.
unhappy? Does she not want to be there? I just kind of felt like she was kind of going through the motions, and maybe she's like, it's preseason. I don't have to play that hard, but I need you
Mm-hmm.
to. Like I need you to play hard because she's the type of player that if and when she does decide to play and she's on the block, like she's a problem. Do you know what I mean? Like she's a problem on the block. So she was the one player for Dallas. I was just like, I had question marks beside. But for everyone else
Mm-hmm.
that got in the game, what they did, it's going to take time. But I'm not counting this Dallas Wings team out just yet.
Me neither. Me neither. It's early. I think that they're going to have a lot of time to figure it out. Well, maybe not a lot of time because the season
Not a
starts
lot.
in a week, but they got some time. They got a little time, a little time. Before we move on to our season preview, just want to shout out the Chicago game and even the Mystics real quick. Two teams that we didn't talk about yet.
Mhm.
I think Chicago looked really solid. I mean, we talked about that Brazil national team. A lot of high school players, a
Yeah.
lot of players that are just going into college and you're having to play against the best of the best. They are never going to forget this opportunity, but it was also a tough situation for them to be in. But I think Angel Reese looks healthy. You know, she had some
Mhm.
tape on her
Mhm.
wrist, on her thumb, but still, a double-double in 17 minutes, 15 points, 10 rebounds. Kia Nurse also looks super solid, 11 points. Haley Van Lith got her first WNBA bucket off an and one, driving to the basket. Was so fun to watch. I know Sloot didn't play a ton of minutes, but already had a no-look dime
Oh
to
gosh.
Angel
Ew.
inside. And I'm
Listen, she
like,
got me
come
on
on.
that. I was like, "Oh, she going
She
to the
got
wing?"
the
No, she's
camera.
not.
You know, and the camera just like they were already panning to the right and she was passing to the
Yeah.
left. So Sloot still got it. And I think that I don't know if we talk about enough how I think that's going to make Angel and Camila Cardoso's game easier when you have a point guard like that. And then Ariel Atkins on the wing. I like the Chicago team. Like I think that
Listen,
they're gonna be okay.
and Rebecca Allen, I I really, really like this Chicago Sky team. I do. And when Elizabeth Williams is 100%, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. It's just something about this Chicago Sky team. And I don't think people are really talking about them that much. But to your point, Sloot is, yeah, she's at the end of her career, but she can still run a team. Like that's what
Oh
she
yeah.
does best. And so I don't know. I'm excited to see what this Chicago Sky team does this season.
Me too. Me too. Last thing, Washington Mystics, Georgia Amore
Ooh, ooh.
suffers an ACL injury. She's out for the season. It is heartbreaking. There was also another ACL injury with Katie Lou Samuelson is out for the season. Why do we have ACLs? What have they done great for us? They are the worst.
Sorry, did you say why do we have them?
Why do we have them?
I agree with you.
I feel like we only hear about them when they're doing bad. There's no good news with an ACL.
Right? Like people don't say, oh, and she got that dunk because of her ACL. Like, yeah, I agree with you.
It is only negative.
ACLs are overrated, maybe. I don't know. I hate that.
They're the worst.
Shout out to Georgia Amore. I was so looking forward to watching her play this season. Because I think she's ready. Like she's pro ready. I love her game. I thought we talked about it, how, the Mystics I thought had, if not the best draft, had one of the top drafts. So really hate that for her. Hate that for Katie Lou. But I'm going to go out on a limb right now and say this. Sonia Citron may win Rookie of the Year.
I think that is I don't think that's too far off. She had 15 points. She played a whole lot of minutes and she was everywhere. She was scoring. She was defending.
Oh my.
I mean, I said it. Her. I said she is pro ready. And in a preseason game that we're not overreacting about.
No, we're not. We're not. And
but still, she's really
preseason
good.
Doesn't matter, but so for me, I don't even look at the score. I look at just your body of work and what she was able to do. Now, mind you, it was against the Fever. And the Fever had all of their players besides Caitlin. Who else? Well, there were a couple other ones that didn't play, but they're starters, right?
Yeah.
And Sonia looked so good. I'm a fan, love her game. The other rookie, Kiki, y'all, I can never say her last name right. Ariafin.
Mm-hmm.
Ariafin. Okay. This is gonna be a spicy season because Kiki was like, "What, Sophie? Girl, don't come over here." Sophie was like,
"Already,
I was
game
here
one,
here for it." But the fact that's a rookie, right?
I know she did not back down,
but she just turned and laughed. She was like, "What? What did you say? What are we doing?" I liked this Mystics team. With Georgia Amore, right? I just feel like I don't know, she's just that player that they need. But I definitely think they'll be better than they were last year, right? I still think they have some really good pieces to make some noise this season in the WNBA.
Yes, they have to stay healthy. Some more preseason games. Again, they are going to be on League Pass on the WNBA app. We got some Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, all the way leading up to opening night, which is May 16th. So super excited about all the basketball that we're going to get to watch before the actual regular season begins. What a time to be alive. I love it. All right, now we're going to switch gears to our season preview. And let's start with the Las Vegas Aces. We kind of talked a little bit about them, but we saved all the goodies until this point. Quick review of where we are. Last season, they finished 27-13. They were 4th overall. Had the biggest storyline, one of the biggest storylines of the offseason, traded Kelsey Plum to the LA Sparks, which we'll talk about later, and then got Jewell Loyd in a huge deal. We know that the Aces were not happy that they did not get to three-peat, and they said, well, we're going to get a bucket getter in Jewell Loyd try to stop us now. Chelsea Gray is healthy, and let's talk about the draft picks that they got. One, Elizabeth Kitley is their draft pick from last season, who was out all season. Now she is back and healthy. We saw a little bit of her in the preseason game, but they got Aaliyah Nye with that number 13 pick. might be the steal of the draft, how she was shooting that thing. And Becky Hammon said after the preseason, she might be the best shooter I've ever seen.
Did she say might?
Did she say? She might have just said the whole thing.
I don't know if she said
shooter.
might. I think she said she's the best shooter I've ever seen. I don't know.
Thank you.
But I don't know. I think I don't remember hearing the word might. But girl, keep stroking that thing. And but Jordan, we're talking about her shooting, but she also defends.
Mm-hmm.
Which at that position,
a 3-and-D player.
Yeah, at that position,
I love it.
Vegas needs her. And here's what I loved about what Becky said, besides her being the best shooter. She also said, now, yeah, they'll eventually get the scout out on her like she's a shooter. But here's the thing. So what? Because shooters are going to shoot. But the fact that she's on the floor means you have to respect her. So all of this, let's go double, triple team, Asia. No. Not with the shooter on the floor. You put them on the same side of the floor. Pick your battle, because what are you going to do? I love this for this kid, and I agree with you. At number 13, I do think he is the steal of the draft.
And that was one of the biggest talking points when you get rid of Kelsey Plum. That was what some people were saying. Oh, you took a big chunk of your outside shooting away. And I would counter that with, well, you got Jewel Lloyd, who can definitely knock it down from out there as well. But now you have that. And I think that's why she kind of, Aaliyah and I made her case of like, yeah, you need me on this team. I want to be 100%. Here and you need me. So let's sign this deal.
And I'm going to go back to the defensive end. Like I love me some KP, but defensively, Aaliyah and I she's it. She's it. I'm
so happy. I love when that happens for rookies.
Yeah.
That's so. I love that for her.
Yeah. Now I don't know what that roster's looking like. Because unfortunately, somebody's got to go.
I know. We're about to get to the time where your favorites are going to get waived. Like we already saw it with the Valkyries, and they waived Cheyenne Sellers, which is a big head scratcher. She is healthy. I'm sorry. Had her sign a rookie contract.
The explanation is a head scratcher to me.
Yeah. She did Natalie Nakase said she did everything that we asked, but she gets waived before a preseason game. Anyway, there's going to be a lot of that, is what I'm saying, when we go into these next couple weeks. But when you look at the Aces as a whole, would you agree that they are trying to get back to the finals? I think Asia Wilson is trying to win another MVP. She still looks unstoppable. Then you add a signature shoe on that as well, because those pink A1s looked great on that court.
Oh, girl. Asia Wilson's on top. She can't be stopped. Stop.
How cute was that commercial?
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I know we weren't talking about that, but you brought up the A1s, Jordan.
Let's so just talk good.
Oh my gosh. I was loving the little patty cake, the A1 barrettes, the girl that had Asia spelled out with beads in her hair. Like, it was so the little things. And shout out to Malia Obama.
Director.
Come on.
It was flawless. It was amazing. They have Nike has done their thing.
Culture. That was for the culture, Jordan.
It was amazing. And I think that's a preview of how she's going to attack this season. You add all of this in with how well she's playing, how dominant she is. And I think the thing with the Aces, when we talk about last season, they were still great, but Chelsea Gray was not healthy at the beginning of the season. And we kept talking about how much she is missed, how huge of a piece Chelsea Gray is for this team. So to see her already starting the season with
Yes.
them. That's why they look like mid-season form, because that's when she joined the season last year.
Yeah, but also Jackie Young. Let's not forget Jackie Young wasn't 100% healthy either towards the end of the season.
True.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think watching Chelsea and Jackie in that preseason game, I was like, oh yeah, they're back. Again, I know it's preseason, but the fact that they're healthy. And
Yeah.
Chelsea was doing some things in this preseason game that I was like, "Oh, we about to really get it this season." I love it for the team. You know, a lot of people question like why didn't Asia play an unrival? And Asia was basically like, "Listen, I need to rest. I need to rest my
Mm-hmm.
body." And I'm not mad at her because you can clearly see that she has put in work. Yep, she did not play an unrival, but she worked on her game. And the one thing I saw from Asia was her three ball. Like just
Mm-hmm.
shooting it with confidence, like this is what I do. Even last year was more of a do I want to shoot this? Do I not? This, at least in this preseason game, it was like, oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this is what I do. I do this too. Yeah, love.
Which you're like,
So,
how are you still adding more to your game? Jeez.
so to your
Man.
question, are they trying to get back? Oh no, I think they're trying to win it, not just get back. They're
Mm-hmm.
trying to win it all.
I love it.
But we'll see.
The one stat I'm going to throw out is both years that they won the title, they were number 1 in pace. Last season, they dropped to 4th. So I'm expecting Becky Hammon to say, let's get back to our quick, fast pace. That's why we were winning all those games, because no one could keep up with them. They were just running teams out the league. And so I'm going to expect them to want to play fast. And then you have a shooter on the wing. Now you have Jewel that can bring it up. And everybody get a rebound. Let's go. And I think that's what they're going to get back to. But as they chip down on this roster, there's other players that we didn't even mention. Dana Evans was out. She's still injured. How can that work as a backup point guard? Tiffany Mitchell came in and gave some great minutes, which that could be a silent assassin coming in off of the bench. So they have the pieces. And it's going to be, how they build that chemistry. I think that was something that they talked a lot about last year as well.
Well, and also I'm going to bring her up because watching her play at AU, I was so happy when she got invited to training camp. Crystal Bradford. For people who aren't very familiar with her, it just sucks that some players are going to have to go, because to me, the energy that Crystal Bradford brings, she plays both ends of the floor. She is one of those players that I could see potentially making this roster, right? And coming in, playing the 3, if she has to play some 4, giving Asia a little break. I hate that for her. Queen Egbo, I think she last year when she did get some minutes, I thought she really helped them. Cheyenne Parker-Tyus is out due to pregnancy. It's just, Liz Kidley, this Vegas team, when I look at everybody they have right now, this is before they waive or cut players, they're deep. They're really deep. So to me, it all depends on, going back to what you said, that style, right? Like the style of play that Becky wants to play. What players will fit that the best?
Yeah.
I just hate it. Oh, I hate it. Hurry up and get to other teams. It's too much talent.
Like,
right?
you can start your training camps now. It is
too much talent that's gonna be waived.
It is. I agree. Aces, their first 3 games, what a treat. Their very first game is against the New York Liberty. And Tuesday, May 20th, they go against the Sun. And then Friday, the 23rd, they go against the Mystics. Should be fun. The Aces, they look scary. We're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to talk some LA Sparks and Kelsey Plum, then the Minnesota Lynx and Nafisa Collier. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Women's Hoop Show, and we are continuing our season preview with the Los Angeles Sparks. A review of last season that all the Sparks players are trying to forget. 8-32. Woo!
Woo!
12th of 12 teams in the league. They were dead last. The Sparks did not make the playoffs. They weren't even close. For the second straight season under Curt Miller, they have not made the playoffs since 2020. Curt Miller was fired in September after 2 seasons. That was a little rough, but I understand. Then they hired Lynn Roberts. This is their 4th head coach in 5 years. So the Sparks they're trying to figure it out. But a bright spot is that Rickea Jackson emerged as a star, not only in the WNBA season, but definitely an unrivaled. You can just see how much she has in her bag. Cameron Brink, the little bit that we saw of her in the WNBA, because she tore her ACL, another punch to the face to ACLs. But she's going to be back. Holly Rowe reported that as early as June. So she's not going to start the season, but she could be back fairly soon. And Dearica Hamby looked absolutely amazing last season. So now you bring in a Kelsey Plum, who already has that chemistry with Hamby from their years that they played from the San Antonio Silver Stars and the Las Vegas Aces. They go way back. And the Sparks are... yeah, they're trying to figure it out. Quick look at their draft picks. They got Sarah Ashley Barker from Alabama, 9th overall. They got Sanaya Fagan from South Carolina, Latu King from Notre Dame. So we'll see how those players can get into the mix under new head coach Lynn Roberts. But what are some questions that you have surrounding the LA Sparks this season? Play their first preseason game on Tuesday, so we haven't seen them yet.
I got a lot. When you look at the roster, I like the pieces. I think signing Odyssey Sims, chef's kiss. I love that move. Love that move. Rickea Jackson, to your point, huge fan. I think Rickea is going to have a better season, obviously, this year than she did last year. I guess the identity, like what kind of a team are you going to have? New coaching staff, a new head coach, all the things. What's her style going to be? And I know a lot of people are excited about Kelsey Plum going to the Sparks. I don't know how I feel about that.
Explain that.
Well, I know they need a shooter, right? They're like, they need a shooter. And is Kelsey Plum that shooter that they need? When I look at the roster from top to bottom, the players they had last year, the players they got in the draft, I just don't know if this is the best fit for Kelsey.
Okay, I can see that.
It's nothing against her. Again, it's a new coach, and from everything I've heard and I've read, the coach likes to shoot it, right? So Kelsey's going to be shooting it. But does that change or affect other people's roles on the team?
Yeah, I would say to that more than a shooter, the Sparks needed a playmaker. Like, there would just be so long stints where Dearica Hamby was like trying to do so much. And, Dearica has a lot in her game, but the handle isn't quite there. So when she would try to take it off the dribble from the 3-point line, it would get smacked or she would get fouled. But the playmaking ability from Kelsey Plum, I think, is what they're going to need the most. I think that we talked a lot about how the Sparks really needed a point guard. So I'm going to be interested to see Odyssey running with KP and how that works. And then you have Rickea, and then, you have Azurá Stevens. I hear you. When you see all of these players individually, it's like, great, love it. These are solid players, solid pieces.
Yeah.
When you put it together, I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure how it's going to look. It could go great. It could go not so great.
And when you talk about the playmaking, right, I get that too. And to me, that's what I think Odyssey brings, right? Like Odyssey can get her own, but she also can create for so many other people. And I think with Kelsey's more of a, yes, she's a playmaker, but Kelsey's more of a I am going to get mine first.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what I see from her. And then there's some other players on here on their roster that I'm just not that familiar with their game, right? So it's just, I don't know. I'm just like,
Fair.
This could be really interesting. It could be very interesting.
The piece that I look at a lot, one, I see Ray Burrell making a leap. I think she made some steps last season.
Yeah.
She made some steps in Unrivaled. This is the season that she needs to make a leap. And I hope that Coach Lynn Roberts is like, yeah, we're looking at you to come off the bench and be a scorer.
Yes.
I don't know if she would start, but we're looking at you to be a scorer. We need you to score. Also, a Mercedes Russell. I think Mercedes Russell could be a scoring big that the Sparks need, but it's a little up and down with her. She was coming from Seattle. It could be something. And I think that's what I feel about all these players. Ari McDonald could be really good coming off the bench. Like, I'm not sure yet. I'm just not sure. But they have to do better than last year because they could do worse. There's 13 teams, so they could do worse. But they have to do better.
You said Mercedes Russell to me is like Tierra McGowan. Like, I need you, to your point, like, I need you to be that post player. I need you to be that center that's going to just control the paint, get on the block, command the basketball. And when you get it, I need you to go to work. Like, I need you to show what you're capable of doing on the block. So the other center I'm looking at, Maria Klundakova from Russia. Don't know anything about her game.
Right.
Is she gonna come? Is she gonna play? Because that happens a lot with international players. Will she be that starting center? That's probably one of the biggest areas I have questions about for the Sparks. Is who is that big for them? Who you know what I mean? Like, on the perimeter, they have so many players that can play different positions, can play the 1, 2, 3. So I don't question the perimeter, but for me, it's more of their inside game. And especially with Cam Brink not playing until June and even coming back, like, how healthy will she be? So I don't know. I to your point, the individual players or the individual pieces, I'm like, they have some really good individual pieces, but how are they going to play together? I will say this, Sarah Ashley Barker from Alabama, I watched her play in college. I love her game. I love how hard she plays, how she competes. She can just score the basketball, right?
Yeah, she's a scorer.
Yeah,
she is a flat out scorer.
She is.
Yeah, I think she will make this team. I think she will. To your point, though, I don't know, Sanaya Fagan, when you talk about the bigs, they are really heavy in the forwards department.
Yes.
So I don't know if she's going to carve out a spot. But okay, so you mentioned Tierra McCowan and you talked about Mercedes Russell, and me and Autumn talked a little bit about this when we were previewing the Dallas Wings a couple episodes ago. That typical center, that very center, I am a big, the thing about Azurá Stevens is we know she can shoot the three. And she showed that off in the one-on-ones in Unrivaled. She has always shot the three ball. So she can extend the floor there. When you think about those true centers, like a Mercedes Russell and Tierra McCowan, do they still fit in today's game, the way that the WNBA is going?
Here's the thing, and I'm so glad you asked that question. because I was talking to someone the other day about it, and I said, yeah, like the WNBA, it's going to positionless basketball, right? But I still feel like there is a place for true centers. And even if it's not on so much on the offensive end, like defensively, you control the paint. Like if nothing else, there are some players who can just score the basketball. Like when you go in the game, you're going in the game because you got to score. Well, what are you bringing? If the offense isn't run through you, or you're not getting a lot of touches on the offensive end, then you got to show coach something different. And to me, Mercedes Russell, and I know we talked about Tierra McCowan too. There are going to be some games that they're probably not going to play because of exactly what you said, right? But when you are in the game, depending on matchups, depending on other teams, depending on game plans and things like that, you got to show, here's what I can do. And it can't be all this up and down, right? Tierra McCowan, to me, I've seen her command the basketball on the block, get in the paint, like people can't guard her when she is determined that this is what I'm going to do. For me, it's more of the just kind of going through the motions, like I don't want to be here. Like that's not going to help you. It's not going to help your team. And so when I say Mercedes reminds me of Tierra, that's what I mean. Like just the inconsistencies that I see from both of them. And it is hard, to your point. It's hard though, because when you have centers that are able to step out and play on the perimeter and knock down the three ball, and then you have centers who really can't do that, it's like, dang, like where do I fit in this? But it's a tough question, but they better figure it out. How about that?
They
You better
gotta figure it out.
If you want to play, you better figure it out.
I also want to say, since we previewed the Atlanta Dream, that was another question we had with BG, and there has since been videos of her shooting the three like it's easy. She had like 5 threes in a row, and I think Carl Smesko over there is like, yeah, we all shooting threes, so you better be in the gym.
Yeah,
we all doing it. So
no doubt.
Even someone like a BG, who is one of the most dominant bigs in WNBA history, is like, I got to evolve my game.
Yes.
Like I have to be able to step out and shoot this three, because this is what our team is running. And I'm curious if that's going to be a thing with Tierra McCowan and Mercedes Russell. And that's going to be something I'm going to look out for all season long. I think the W has been separate from the NBA in the sense that we have true centers, and there's still that position, and there's still, being drafted. We have someone like Dominique Malonga, who I think is one of those true centers. She can also shoot it though. So the game is growing in a different way, but that's something that I'm going to be looking out for all this season.
Well, and Jordan, and that's where you also have to look at the coach, right? You have to look at the coach and say, your roster, you have true centers on your roster. What type of offense are you running? And if it's not something where you see being able to use your center, then that's also on the coach. But to your point, Brittany has shown she can shoot the three, and she's working on it. Is Mercedes working on her three ball? Is Tierra working on her three ball? I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Fascinating stuff. I love it. Just a very random side note. We don't talk about the NBA over here, but my Lakers got out of the playoffs because JJ did not play a center, and we made Rudy Gobert look like a freaking all-star, one of the best centers to ever live. So that kind of goes in with this conversation. If you're going to play small, that's what you got to do, but you got to also defend if other people play big. So
yes, you do.
We'll see how Lynn navigates that. And I'll see how this Sparks team looks. I'm excited. This episode is going to drop on Tuesday. So their preseason game against the Golden State Valkyries will be that day. But they start the season also at the Golden State Valkyries on May 16th. And they play the Lynx and then Phoenix. All right, Sparks. just do better than last. Just do better than last.
I know that hurt you. I know that hurt you. I know it hurt you.
All right, we'll take a break. Still to come, we'll talk about last season's runner-up, the Lynx, and will this be their year to win it all? I don't know. Come back and find out. Welcome back to the Women's Hoop Show. Let's talk about the Minnesota Lynx. Wow. I am such a fan of this team. Last season, they finished 30-10. They were first in the Western Conference. They came in second place in the standings because it was a wonderful final series with the New York Liberty that went to 5 games, which, by the way, now the rule is for the finals, it is 7 games because that series was so great last year that the league was like, yeah, everybody wanted a couple more games. So that is the new rule this season. I'm kind of hoping for a rematch because how amazing would that be? They didn't make a ton of moves in the offseason because why would you? They already had the chemistry. They had this kind of hodgepodge group, but leave it to Sheryl Reeve to make them a final contender, a championship contender. Nafisa Collier had an incredible 2024.
Yeah.
She was Defensive Player of the Year. She was the Commissioner's Cup final MVP. She set a franchise record with 42 in the semifinals. She was the queen of Unrivaled. She launched her own league and won the one-on-one Queen of the Court there. You have a Courtney Williams who is incredible, and now her and her dad have a podcast, and they are doing amazing. Kayla McBride was shooting over 40%. So this Lynx team is solid. The one move is they got Carly Samuelson from Washington, which I think helps them even more with shooting off the bench. And Lindsay Whalen is now on the coaching staff, which I also really like that move. But yeah, I'm happy they didn't go in and be like, we're changing everything because we didn't win. They said, let's run it back. And I love that for them. How do you feel?
So Sheryl Reeve last year said that I guess they kind of felt disrespected because no one was talking about them winning a championship. And I talked to Sheryl last year, I want to say at the Women's Sports Hall of Fame before the season started. And we were just talking about the team. And she said, Sheryl, we're going to surprise some people this year. And I said, oh, okay. Right. Like, we'll see. I kind of feel, even though they made it to the finals last year, I kind of feel like people are doing the same thing. I know the season hasn't started, but even in preseason, like I haven't heard people really talk about the Minnesota Lynx. They're talking about, what they did last year, but they're not talking about the potential for them to not only make it back to the finals, but possibly win a chip. When you bring back your entire roster that was there last year, and you add a couple of pieces, how can people not talk about you? And one player that I want to talk about, if she is healthy, Diamond Miller. Like Diamond Miller didn't really play last season for them. And Diamond Miller, what she brings on both ends of the floor, she can score, she's long, she's athletic, she defends. Like, to me, that might have been the one piece they were missing last year, is just that defender on the perimeter being able to match up with the 1, the 2, or the 3. And if Diamond Miller comes back and she's healthy, she gives him a whole different look, right?
I love her game.
I love her. I love her. And you already talked about Fee, the type of season she had. You know what? And Fee has a chip on her shoulder. One, they didn't win it last year. I think she feels so disrespected as far as when people talk about the best players in the league. Her name is sometimes the 4th or 5th player, and they're putting players in front of her. And I'm sure she's like, what? Oh, okay, so I got to show y'all again. You talk about potential MVPs, people are like, oh, well, nope, Fee is like third or fourth. Like, Fee just does her work. She hears the noise, she sees it, and she's like, oh, okay. My mama used to say, I can show you better than I can tell you. And that's what Fee does, right?
Yes.
Bridget Carlton. I thought Bridget had a great season for them. Bridget's just a shooter. I don't
Solid.
know. I like this Minnesota Lynx team. And Sheryl, I'm gonna say it now. I'm not one of those people that's counting the Lynx out. I am not gonna disrespect you like that at all.
No. And you
Mm-mm.
can we talked about that
Mm-mm.
last year. We talked about the last 2 years. You can never count the Lynx out
No,
because
ever.
of who their
Ever.
coach is. You can never count them out. The other player that I think is going to be a key to this team is they are bringing back Jessica Shepard, who is a solid big for them. And she's been on their team years prior, but last year she decided to play more overseas.
Yep.
And she dominated. She did really well overseas. Now they're bringing her back. And that was a little bit of our question marks when we were getting deep in the playoffs if Minnesota was big enough. Like,
Yeah.
Fee was so dominant on the offensive end and defensive end that you kind of didn't notice it, but you had kind of an Alana Smith playing the 5, and that was their only hitch, was like, dang, do they have that size? Are they big enough to go against a Jonquel Jones? Now you bring in someone like a Jessica Shepard, who also can step out and shoot it, but she can play inside, and she's maybe not gonna give you a ton of points, but she is a presence that is in the paint. And that is something that they were kind of missing. So now you answer the only question mark that they had. You bring back a healthy team. You bring back a Kayla McBride, who has just been shooting lights out, was one of my favorite players to watch in Unrivaled because 3-on-3 just suits her so well. This, yeah. I only feel like we're going to talk about, the Liberty coming up in next episode, but this is a team that when you add the chips on their shoulder and you add the refereeing last season, like they are so determined to win it all, and they can. They can.
They absolutely have the players. They have the experience now. They know what it felt like to get there. And shout out Diamond Johnson. I'm sorry.
Yes!
Listen,
we talked about it.
We did.
Yes.
We did. And she got that contract. Girl, go do work. I love this for her. And just to people, don't tell me that being 5'4" means you're too little, too small to play in the league. I hear that all the time. Diamond Johnson might be 5'4", but she plays like she's 6'4". So so happy for her. I love it. And Minnesota Lynx, y'all better look out for them.
Oh my God. It would be Sheryl Reeves' 5th title, but more importantly, it would be Nafisa's 1st championship. And even when it got deep into the playoffs, maybe because nobody was talking about the Lynx last year, but they're like easy to root for. Like, you're rooting for Fee. You're rooting for a Courtney Williams. You're rooting for a Kayla McBride. And maybe that's it a little bit. Like, I'm rooting for them to make it all the way and to get a lot of these firsts. And, well, not for Sheryl Reeves. She's like, been there, done that. Let's get 5. Let's do this. But I'm rooting for them. I don't know. They're easy to root for.
And Jordan, let's also not forget, here's part of the reason why I root for them is because Sheryl Reeves is the only coach who has all former players as her assistants. I do believe.
Rebecca Brunson.
God, I just went blank. Rebecca Brunson. Lindsay Whalen. Oh gosh.
Katie Smith isn't there anymore, though.
You're right. Katie is not.
She's
there
at
anymore.
Ohio
She's
State.
At Ohio State. So she was. So I take that back. So now I don't know who it is.
But man, that would have been
all
of them. She kind of, I think Sheryl Reeves got Lindsay Whalen because Katie Smith left. But if all 3 of them,
But I
Holy
know she
crap. That's
did
a lot of
before. Like
championships.
she had
Yeah.
Katie Smith, Planette Pearson, Rebecca Brunson.
Mm,
They were all on her staff at
mm-hmm.
one point. And
I
so,
love that.
like, whether people want to believe it or not, to me, it also makes a big difference when you have players who've played the game before, and especially those players, they've won championships, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they know how to teach and coach these players and pour into them and have the players say, you know what, you're not just talking about it, you've done it. Like you've been there, you've done it. So I love this for them. Yeah, and we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. That's a great point. One side note, Tyler Marsh, I think, did a really good job with his assistant coaching staff. And you bring in a Courtney Paris who can, you have
Yes.
dominant bigs like an
Yes.
Angel Reese and a Camila Cardoso. You bring in a former dominant player, one of the best double-double assassins from Oklahoma. You bring her in on your coaching staff. I don't think we talk about that enough of, yes, there are new head coaches, but the staff that they are surrounding themselves with is almost just as important
100%.
as the head coaching role for these teams and building their identity. And as almost all of these teams are kind of trying to figure out what their identity is, there's something about the Minnesota Lynx having that foundation of a Cheryl Reeve who has been there for so long. That's not something they're worried about. Like, you don't have to check off who we are. I'm Cheryl Reeve. I know what this team is. I know what we're about. Let's just do it again. And that's a different vibe from a lot of these teams coming in this season. So that's what makes me excited. I love it. All right, first 3 games. They got at Dallas Wings on the 16th, May 18th, the Sparks, and then the Dallas Wings again in Minnesota on the 21st, which is going to be a Paige Becker's homecoming, which is super exciting. So that's going to be really, really fun. Well, this was fun. I feel ready, and I feel better prepared to watch these preseason games too. This is what I am like
so excited for the season. Can't wait for the season. I do have one thing I have to do before we go.
Okay.
I just want to say to Skylar Diggins, have a great season. Just shut out the noise. Do you focus on you? Listen, I've been there. My first season in the WNBA, I've been there where I played a season, was going through a divorce, all the things. And I just want to say to you, like, do what's best for you, for your kids. Stay focused on the task at hand. And I'm sending you just big hugs, kisses, love. And yeah, you don't owe anybody any explanations. I needed to say that.
That was very well said. Very, very well said. Skylar Diggins, sending love to you and your Seattle Storm. You got that preseason win in your first game. But can't wait to watch all the games, all the preseason action bleeding into the regular season games. It's going to be exciting. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow on your favorite podcast app so you never miss an update. Your support means the world. And if you're feeling generous, leaving a quick rating or review helps more Hoops fans discover the show. And you can now see us on our brand new YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe there. Also, our inbox is open for business. Shoot us an email at women'shoops@odyssey.com to tell us what's on your mind. We want to hear your hottest takes about the draft, your burning questions about the upcoming season, and all your feelings about all things women's hoops. We just might feature your note on the show. That's women'shoops@odyssey.com. The Women's Hoop Show is an Odyssey original podcast hosted by me, Jordan Robinson. Today, our co-host was Sheryl Swoopes. Our producer is Phil Sweetek. Our video team is led by Kurt Courtney and includes Tim Meikle, Evan Cox, Allison Jeffrey, and Lauren Vieira. Our executive producers are Greg Holtzman, Asha Saluja, Danny Freisinger, Maddie Sprunkheiser, and Leah Reese-Dennis. And special thanks to Moira Curran and Josephina Francis.